joined by very special guests, the owners and the
team,
workers and the
really.
team at Success International,
Yes.
which was featured in a story that's nominated tonight for from Jermont Terry, the reporter from WBBM Channel 2.
Yes.
The story's called Sign the Pledge. So tell us, your organization fights violence. You use an unorthodox way to do it. Tell us what you do.
Well, it was unorthodox because what we did in a city with all this violence, I came up with an idea and said, look, why don't we go inside the jail, talk to the people that are in jail, and ask them to sign a pledge not to kill innocent women and children. And so I think in this country, we don't want anybody to kill anybody, but we sure don't want people like yourselves or anybody else to actually go to a store, a parking lot, and get killed. So Jermont Terry came in and filmed it. We went into the most violent part of Cook County Jail, and every single person signed that pledge, and we've been working vociferously to do it for the last 2 years.
How many signatures have you gotten so far?
At least close to 1,000. So we're
Can
very
I ask,
proud of that.
what's the response you get from them when you ask them about this, you tell them about this?
Well, you know, we have showed them footage because the idea is that none of these men want to kill an innocent person. They don't want to kill children. It's an accidental shooting. So we've asked them that if you're going to do something like this, think twice before you do it. We don't want you to kill anybody, but we want you, if you see somebody in a car in a parking lot, to refrain from that kind of behavior. And a lot of people said to us, you know what? They're not going to listen. Well, they have listened, and not only that, they're calling from inside the jail, outside the jail, and letting people know outside the jail, don't do this either. So this was groundbreaking, and here we are at the Midwest Emmys.
Truly a way of making
And I just would like to say this. As excited as I am to be here, as excited as I am to have all these wonderful, beautiful people here who are part of this team with me, this is about these kids. I've spoken and been doing this work for 25 years. I've spoken at so many funerals. Paulette Peaks, Nugget, Starkeisha Reed, children who got shot in their beds, in their homes. I even took my oldest daughter, Amanda, to Paulette Peaks' funeral where the little girl was 9 years old and got shot for getting a piece of candy. So this is a victory for every child or adult who has been killed innocently in this city and across the country. So we're humbled to be here, and all the attention really belongs to all the children and innocent lives that have been lost in Chicago and across the United States.
Now to an unorthodox way to fight Chicago violence. It's a unique story you'll only see here on CBS2. Our Jermont Terry takes us inside the maximum security unit at the Cook County Jail. People accused of committing crimes now trying to stop them.
Chicago is a world-class city.
1834 go.
But it's a city in crisis.
Somebody on God.
The entire world is looking at this catastrophe in Chicago.
From a surge in violent carjackings
You tried to interrupt it.
to an unprecedented string of mass shootings
You tried to cease it.
and more than 100 children shot in the streets so far this year.
You've tried to bring more police. You've talked about the National Guard.
Everyone is asking what can be done to make it stop.
I know the pain of being locked up in prison.
This man believes the solution starts here.
No one has gone in and included the very people that are doing these things or have the propensity to do these kinds of things in the conversation of how we clean up the violence in Chicago.
No one until now.
The only people that can stop this is all of us.
I'm 25. I was 20 when I got locked up.
Inside the Cook County Jail Maximum Security Division, we find inmate number 2015-092-8304. Behind the tattoos in the Department of Correction jumper, he's simply David Brown.
Don't you give up.
You can't.
5 years here. That's how long Brown's been here without bond, awaiting trial for a murder he's accused of committing in 2015. He's spending this day getting to know this man, Victor Woods, along with nearly 100 other violent inmates.
You're all right now living a nightmare.
A nightmare Woods has lived firsthand.
I started my first armed robbery ring when I was 16 years old.
After serving time in prison for armed robbery, Woods only elevated his criminal resume when he was released.
I came out with a degree in counterfeiting, a degree in credit card fraud.
In 1988, Woods started one of the nation's largest credit card scams, ripping off more than $40 million before finally getting caught and locked up. He served 14 years in federal prison.
I know the ultimate pain of looking in the mirror and wishing that you had made a different decision.
That's why Woods and his friends, many who are also ex-offenders turned businessmen, are back on the inside, all trying to convince the 6,000 Cook County inmates, many repeat offenders themselves, to address what's happening outside the jail walls.
This is the young man that killed Hadith Pendleton. He didn't mean to do it. He was shooting at somebody else.
They are showing these accused murderers the impact of their crimes on real people, their families, and their friends.
I didn't know all these shootings was going on, all these kids getting shot.
This is unique, but it's necessary in your opinion.
It really is. I mean, I will say, like, that I have a genuine concern. I live in the city of Chicago.
Which is why Dr. Jane Goopser, the executive director of the Cook County Jail, jumped at the chance to let Woods and his group speak their heartfelt message to the most violent offenders here.
Ultimately, I hope someone leaves here and gets on the phone, maybe talks to their friends, a little brother, a sister, someone, and says, you know what, it's not worth it, right? Think twice about what we're doing out there.
When you look at the faces of these individuals, these inmates, do you think it's hitting home?
I think so. I think that there's a lot of people here who wish they could have gone back in time.
The exact sentiments of the youngest inmates I met.
How old are you, KK?
20.
Kirako Basarakos, or KK, has been locked up since he was 18. Moments before sitting in this chair, he found out he's not getting out. The court denied him bond. He will stay behind bars until his trial on attempted murder charges.
So I kind of lost hope, I hung up my phone call with my mom, I was mad at everything. Ever since I got locked up, it woke me up. So it sucks that there's still people out there doing the same thing I was just doing.
KK says he's truly troubled by Chicago's violence, even though he's accused of contributing to it.
Why do people in Chicago, like people like myself, we always gotta do something illegal? We gotta move past that.
The only people who can change the culture of what's going on in this city is all of you.
That's why Wood's message offers more than hope.
He was in the same shoes as me. And, if he can do it, then I can do it.
It demands a commitment from the men in this room to make a pledge.
It's called Spare the Children.
A promise to keep women, children, and innocent lives safe.
May I please have a show of hands of everyone who is willing to sign this pledge, please. Raise them high. Let everybody in Chicago see it. Face the camera, let them see it. Raise them up.
One by one, those same hands signed, including David Brown.
David, was there any hesitation after listening to this presentation to sign the pledge?
Not at all. No, not at all. No hesitation whatsoever. He motivated me. I promise you, I'm going to send it to somebody. Somebody that I know who has a big influence on other people.
People don't normally go and talk to the people who have committed the crimes and say, stop the violence.
To me, this is common sense. What do they got to lose?
At the Cook County Jail, Jermont Terry, CBS2 News.
Wood was not paid to come and talk to inmates. He plans to go back, though, to the Cook County Jail later this year to finish and get additional inmates on board.